I've never gone onto someone else's account before. Thanks for joining, everyone. But yeah, hello and welcome to the first event of the Girls in Film School. I'm Lucy Cooper, production designer and art director.
Yeah.
I'm based in London as well, yeah.
So I'm Beatriz Sastre. I'm a DOP, a cinematographer, and yeah, based in London. And I'm super excited to talk today with you and chat about how our collaboration is essential as you, production designer, and me, a DOP. And yeah, so I think let's get started now.
Yeah. So we're going to dive in. So yeah, so kind of to anyone who's kind of a layman to what our jobs are, I do all the kind of designs for the sets and kind of any props that you see in anything kind of moving image. Like if it's not a person, that's and it's not a location that already exists, it's someone like me.
Yeah, so my part is more it's also the visual side of it, but it's more in regards to camera and lighting. So as a director of photography, I'm in charge of that. So it's interesting because it's two ways to kind of get the concept from the director. So get the concept of the film and sort of, make it visual. So that's why I think it's so essential to work well together, because it's like you can be pulling in different ways or you can be joining into. So for me,
yeah,
it's different, but for me, it's always very important to work really closely together.
Exactly, because kind of we all need to support the director's vision, but in our own way. But it also should be a conversation between everyone to make sure that kind of everyone's doing their best in order to serve this kind of one purpose, but also kind of bringing their own specialities and ideas into it as well.
Yeah, because I guess usually the director's got a vision, or sometimes maybe they don't have a very clear vision, and it's our job to kind of bring it up together. This also, it works together with wardrobe and makeup and that, because I think it's important to also mention it.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, costume styling, glam, if it's all about, to me, it's always about just making a beautiful image kind of in front of you. And that's definitely something that we did on one of our last jobs together.
Yeah.
Josie Mann. If you haven't seen it, guys, it's Josie Mann Cuts and Bruises music video. And yeah, it was just beautifully done. Beatriz, you take it away.
I mean, you all there. No, it was a really special project. In this one, Andrea Mae Perez, who's amazing, the director, she already had a very clear vision of what she wanted, didn't she? She sort of
definitely
wanted to have sort of this it's like to create this world for lovers, really dreamlike, sort of enhanced reality kind of thing.
Definitely, it was all about kind of the hyper real, the romantic, just full of kind of color and life and joy almost. And yeah, so it was very much, when we kind of got the brief for it, it was very much location based. Kind of initially it's sort of each room was going to tell a different story kind of within the same world. And just kind of putting forward ideas together with Andrea. Yeah, she had a really fantastic kind of mood boards for us, so we could kind of all get on the same page and kind of do our own little document kind of back to her to make sure that we were all just doing it. Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah, because I guess if we talk about the relationship with the DP and the PD, usually sometimes you talk prior to the recce, sort of, sending mood boards to each other, send sketches. But in this one, because sometimes when it's a music video or it's a commercial, the turnaround is really fast. So in this one, it's very interesting because Andrea had a clear vision. So I was sending back and forth mood boards with her, but I think you were doing the same, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think because she knew what she wanted and we were obviously giving what she wanted, so we didn't need it. We were just going to kind of have a conversation and agree, I think. And that's what happened on the recce. We just sort of turned up and went, hey, oh yeah, how about we're going to do some really beautiful coloured sheers on the windows to kind of enhance the lighting, and I'm going to bring in these colours. And then yeah, you jumped in and just added all these beautiful fills and stuff.
Yeah, because I guess the recce is the key part for our collaboration. Is when we've passed already about, like, we've already spoken about the concept, we've already spoken about the style. We know if it's a cell build or if it's an actual location. In this way, in this time, it was an actual location, which was actually an amazing location already. Like, it's so cool. So then, once we were there, we were talking about the set colors, I guess, the atmosphere, where the lighting source is coming from. So, if there's a window, do we want to see the window? Do we not? Do we want curtains on it? Do we want maybe shears to let the light come through? What colors are we going to use? So, yeah, I guess those were the kind of conversations that you would have on a recce.
Yeah. And then, hopefully leave the recce kind of everyone knowing what everyone's doing, and just then you kind of keep in contact while you go and like get all your stuff,
Exactly,
just to make sure that everybody knows what they're doing on the day. And then the shoot.
Because I guess for you, like, if like for you can make my work better, you can make my work better. I think it's the opposite as well, so it's kind of blending in and doing that. I guess because I'm trying to think, what's the typical conversations that we talk about on a recce? Like, for me personally, from production point of view, like, for me, it's very important that, for example, the walls are in white usually, unless the story really requires it, or that there's curtains, like, pointing through the window, like if it's see-through, also like having practical lamps. Like, that's one of the conversations that we had in this one, right? Because, for example, we needed a disco ball that you supplied. Because in this one, also, like, every room had a different concept.
Yeah, it was just totally different. So for me, it was just like, I'm in kind of cake world and kind of draping fabrics everywhere, and then suddenly we were in a fish restaurant and it had to look totally different space. And then we're in a really sumptuous space with all of these kind of wilted flowers everywhere, and then we're up and it's beautiful sunny morning and there's bushes in the hotel room. We had to tell so many different kind of moments in that. That just everything was kind of different each time.
It was also like really fast. So usually, so for example, there was, like you're saying, there was a room that was like sort of a garden full of flowers built inside a bedroom, which was pretty crazy. So it's like, okay, I have to, as a DOP, I have to get that concept and think how I'm going to light that in a way that kind of blends in. So we had like sort of strong sunlight coming through. I was playing a lot with the flares. So sort of that, to make a lighting that feels organic with the production design that you were creating.
Because it had to feel really natural, didn't it? Couldn't feel like it was nighttime. We needed that really springy kind of element to it. And we had I gave you some extra branches to kind of tickle over your light to give a bit more texture.
For example, another, because I knew Andrea really wanted, I see she's there. Hello.
Yeah, she's there. Hey.
I knew Andrea wanted to have, this kind of dreamlike wall with a lot of color, but she wanted the lighting to be very natural in terms of color. So, to make it look like natural as possible. But she told me you can add a bit of color here and there, like a few spots. So obviously I needed to know what color, for example, were the material that you were using. So I could match that lighting. So if you had a lot of pinks or salmons, I could add a hint of salmony color on it. So that's why it's so important, I guess, the conversation in advance.
And then on the day, it was just so nice to kind of, I think I mainly dressed ahead, so they were pretty finished by the time you got there, because obviously on the recce we'd already plotted everything out and we'd taken photos and measurements and everything. But it was nice to kind of, as you'd finish from another location, come into our one, and it was a new world, and it's like, right, where we're going to put the camera here, we're going here, we're doing this, can we tweak? And then it's just about me jumping in and just tweaking those last bits to just make sure that everything is still looking as best as it can go. There is a Q&A session after as well. I just see somebody ask, we'll be doing some questions.
So yeah, I guess it's what you're saying. There's that conversation has been like we've already spoken about that through emails or on the recce. So then once you usually get to set, production design has already like set that space. Oh,
sorry, my camera fell down.
So
I
then
knew that was going to happen. I'm sorry, everyone.
That's all good. That's the place is already dressed. So then, but you know, it's still important that the production designer is still around the set, you know, because there's always things that are going to change last minute, and we have to be open to the possibility that maybe the director suddenly wants to turn the camera and look the other way.
Yeah.
So I guess the work's already being done, but there's always space for like being creative and a bit of change on the actual set.
Yeah, and it's always helpful to kind of know what the angles are, where we are in the spaces as we're kind of going along as well, for me to dress, because sometimes you just don't have the time or the money to dress a 360-degree space.
Yeah.
So it's all about kind of what are we seeing, what are we not seeing.
Yeah.
Do we need to bring things in more? Do we need to take it out a bit more?
Yeah.
Even just like forcing perspective on things is always quite a key thing. It's like you just need something here to do something
a bit in the foreground.
Yeah, we just need a little bit of foreground action, and then it's going to be great.
Yeah, because I guess same as for me, it's very important to know what lamps are you using, what color you use, or what curtains. Some of the usual questions that I get from the production designer is like, how wide is your shot going to be, or what's the depth of field? How much is everything going to be in focus? Is it going to be out of focus? I guess you kind of need that information, right?
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, even like recently I've been on a job and we've been using a lot of probe lenses, so you're just getting like you're inside a crisp packet, and I have to dress crisps now. That's all that you're seeing.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. I love those lenses.
Yeah, they are so. I'm just like everyone. You get a probe lens. It's just amazing. So much fun.
Cool. That's so cool. Amazing. So is there any specific project you want to talk about, like, you know, that for you was like very important, the production design on it, or like it was like a big challenge in terms of like relationship with the DOP? Or
I think one of the tougher ones that I kind of always have is I did a job. Oh no, actually one of the funnest ones that we did. Yeah. It was this Ella Air music video, New Me, with Sophia Ray was our director, and Ben is our lovely DOP. I need to get his full name. But yeah, we were just kind of jumping around again, kind of into different rooms, and just like a really hyper real, just like throwing mad colors everywhere. We had this kind of moment in a bedroom where we were going from day to night in shot, so the lighting had to change just about 3 or 4 times to kind of look like a week had passed. So we kind of faked a window in a door frame, and then had to figure out how to make that kind of look as much like a window as possible.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like fashioning like a curtain rail on top, but it's a location, so you can't drill into the walls. So we just kind of got some stands and then put some shears on top. And then, yeah, we had one of the guys just in the bathroom doing this with a light. And then again, just like jumping around into this like crazy disco room, and we just like threw loads of like LED lights up into the ceiling and stuff. And I just had loads of like glitter curtains everywhere to just really reflect the light everywhere, and just just make it look crazy. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
DOP was super happy about that, like all the reflective materials and all the lights that you brought.
Yeah, there was just like so much texture in the background. Yeah, I know that you guys just love a bit of texture.
Yeah, texture is all
but how about you? You recently came off doing a feature. I don't normally work on projects that long, so it must be a totally different experience to kind of what we were doing.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's very, I mean, that one specifically was really different. It's also like, so it's this feature called Federica Monsen. I shot it in Spain. Federica Monsen, La Mujer que Habla, the woman who speaks. And it's based in the 30s between Spain and France. So you can imagine like the whole like set design is quite like a lot. Because also
wow.
They even built, because we also shot everything, even if it's between France and Barcelona and Valencia and a bit of Madrid, we actually shot everything in the same city. So like set design was amazing. They had to build a jail, they built like a bar, like it was so good. I guess it's different because there's more time. So because there's more time, there's more conversations. Everything has to be sort of really like green-lit and locked in before doing anything. So there's a lot of sketches. I find that I've been very lucky because I find that the production designers that I've worked with, they are always very aware of lighting. So for example, in this one, when they were building the jail, he already knew that there were going to be a lot of little practicals in the corridor because there weren't like big windows that we could use. And then in the sort of cell, there was this big window that I could use. So he was building a beautiful space for himself, but he was already thinking about the lighting, which is great. But yeah, if like how different it is, I guess you just get more time, and there's more work for them, so the conversation starts way earlier. But apart from that, I think it's actually the same. I film features. The production designer is actually not on set with you though. There's two people like sort of managing props and stuff, but the actual production designer is already maybe in another location working on it.
Yeah, there's many lots of standby people. You're very removed from kind of the action, as it were.
Yeah. But no, for me, it's always like, a pleasure and super important working together.
Yeah. Well, I hope we work together again really soon, Beatriz, because it's a particular delight with you. Not that I work with horrific people.
Is there, what was that question? Like, has there been any time that you kind of like a DOP fucked up sort of thing?
God, I don't know. There's been a lot of time. Yeah, I guess like just having extra lamps all the time seems to be the way to kind of like save the day. It's just like, have you got any spare practicals? It's like, I have one in my car. Yeah, we put him in the set. That's great. Also, I get all of these like fun like crystal things and like weird warped glass. You guys love that stuff. When I bring my little glass bag of tricks out, you guys lose your minds.
That's always
we use that a lot.
Of the lens, and then you get all these flares and all these amazing textures. So if the shot is looking sort of empty and flat, you put that in and suddenly there's magic, right?
And it's like, wow, what's going on? This is crazy. But just I love to like kind of just get really loose with it and really just experiment with stuff. Definitely kind of do that in photography a lot, and then that kind of like transfers over into the film world a bit, which is quite fun.
Definitely. Actually, I wanted to ask you about that because you worked in Rankin for some time, right?
So I was his production designer for a couple of years back in my 20s.
So you worked stills there as well as video?
So it was always just a big mix. It was just one day it would be a photo shoot, the next day we'd be shooting kind of like a beauty commercial, the next day we're doing like this mad 6-week long project for like a lingerie brand, just like jumping from kind of project to project all the time. And just kind of when we had our own like in-house film crew, but then on the bigger jobs we'd get like a DOP would come in and it would be like, oh, someone new that we haven't seen for a while.
I have to talk to.
I'm just like, oh my god, a new person. And sometimes it's like they don't get the dynamic. It was quite a weird one because like obviously Rankin is a photographer and a director, so he knows about lights just from the get-go, and it's funny to see kind of like their relationship together, especially when I'm kind of an in-house set person, so I already am kind of like having quite a lot of conversations with him and we kind of know what we're doing. I kind of know where I stand, and so it's quite funny to kind of be like, oh, are we going to tell him Oh, all right. I'm gonna step out of this.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna play with this thing over here. But no major problems there.
How is it different? Like, do you work differently when it's still shoot or a video shoot? How different is it for you?
I think I definitely work much more in a 3D and kind of fluid environment in film, because a lot of my stuff, the camera's kind of moving all the time, not just kind of this angle to this angle. We've got a lot of steady. I've done a lot of things where big set pieces have been physically moving in the space, or lights have been going on and off in the space that kind of we're in control of. So it's almost like a choreography when you're shooting those things. It's almost like a dance, which is quite fun. It's just like another performative element to it, which is quite nice. Whereas photography is all about building that one image, so you can kind of keep looking at it and keep adding to it. So if you go, you can kind of test it and go, I don't like that, we need to add more light, or we need to add something in the background, we need to look at it from this angle, or throw something else in. It's much more kind of, it's like a building block, whereas in film it's like get it in, get it shot, get it done, get out.
Less time, I guess. No, it's way faster, everything. Yeah, that's super interesting. Awesome.
But
so
yes,
you want to do the Q&A, or
yeah, let's do some questions, shall we? Should open up the floor.
awesome. Someone was asking before. No?
Someone was asking before. Also, Beatriz, what has been a one where you've saved the set designer's ass?
I guess when maybe the background isn't 100% ready. I guess the what to do. I guess I just make the background darker. Or softer, so it's not in focus. I guess that's what you usually do, right? So if the background is not completely set, obviously you help them out with lighting. If it's not like super interesting, or there's not lots going on for whatever reason, because maybe the director has decided to change the camera angle at some point, and we weren't ready for that.
Yeah.
If the background is looking sort of flat or with not like a lot going on, I would just add a bit of lighting, a bit of shape, fake a window and have some light sort of making a shape on the wall, adding a bit of funky colors maybe. So that sort of thing always helps, I guess. Yeah,
that sounds good. I think I've had like total sets, total props, everything just like crashed. We have a question.
What does it say? Beatriz, do you get involved a lot in color grading process, or do you leave it entirely to the colorist? No, so for me, the color grading process is super, super important. So I always try to be involved. For me, actually, that's something I bring up in the conversation, like when at the beginning, talking to the director and the production company in advance. I already asked who's the color grader, and if I can be involved, when it's going to be the grade. And usually if I cannot be on the actual grade because I'm on another shoot, I will make grading documents. Maybe sometimes taking those images from the mood board that we've already talked about. And I would make all my grading notes based on the edit that I've seen. But still, I'm always on the grading. I'm a bit paranoid about that. Yeah.
So we've got another question down here. Did you guys study in your perspective field at uni, or did you land in this field? So I studied performance design at St Martin's, and it was much more about performance design. It was about much more about the live events, but also was very fluid because it had kind of performance art and stuff in there. So I started working with Secret Cinema in my third year. And I'm used to kind of like the live, the 3D, the being in a world. And so started doing that, and also just got work kind of assisting with a prop master, and in my final year, and was like, this is good. It was one. Wow, I've done
once.
This is cool. Great. How about you?
I miss the Secret Cinema.
It's back this summer. It's back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they're doing Dirty Dancing.
Awesome. So for me, I knew I wanted to work in film. I didn't know specifically in what sort of role. So I studied media, which is like audiovisual communication. And once I was there, I started doing short films as a director, because I guess everyone, when they start in film, almost everyone, they think they want to be directors. And then when I was doing my first short film, I realized that I hated it, and that I was like only thinking about the visuals. I was not very good directing actors and talking about their internal emotions, because I'm more of a sort of visual person rather than just being so verbal. So I guess it was sort of like figuring out slowly as I was doing it. And then I went to London and I did my master's in cinematography. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you find the working relationship between HODs during pre-production has been made easier or harder by the push for distance working?
You find the working relationship?
Well, I would say it's in some ways it's easier because you don't have to fit in so many face-to-face meetings. You can kind of bung on a Zoom and get a lot done. But also we kind of chat a lot on WhatsApp groups, kind of seem to be the main way of kind of communicating with everyone before a shoot. So you can have like a group just for art department, just for cinematography, for all of the HODs. It's just that the pandemic, people don't really want to give anybody any time.
Yeah.
To do anything.
I think you're right. It's almost like now that we don't have to meet in person so much, you kind of have more time.
Yeah.
So yeah, like as long as we can, meet up on the recce, the prior work is fine to just send mood boards, and then, you can just chat on the phone, and if necessary, even go get to set for the recce. So yeah.
So yeah, there was another
Did
one.
we jump
What inspired you to take the career path that you're both on?
Well, for me, I don't know, I sort of always loved cinema, like sort of in a short answer. Part of my family works in theater. My uncle, so I grew up like sort of going a lot to see plays, but I knew for me it was a bit more sort of filmmaking. And I was always obsessed about films. So I just went on and studied that. And from there, slowly, like I was saying, you sort of understood what you were more into, or what, your skills were stronger. Yeah.
I actually wanted to get into acting, and
Oh,
I
really?
did an acting foundation at a drama school. So basically I do this now because I didn't get into drama school, got into art school instead. I didn't know where I was going to go with it, but yeah, just kind of experimenting at uni and just getting really kind of loose with it, because I didn't know this was a thing. I think it's really sad that kind of so many of these jobs in film, people don't kind of realize are a thing.
Yeah. You don't figure out until later. I find that actually a lot of production designers don't actually come from studying filmmaking, because they kind of go another route, right?
It does definitely feel like there's kind of two different camps in kind of film. It's like you've got the directors and the cinematographers, because you can't really do one without the other. You need someone in the camera, but I think you can kind of get away with not thinking about art department so much, because you go, oh, I can just grab this and I can grab that. I don't have any money to like spend on set. But we're kind of coming from an art world, and we're like, we're going to design crazy sets for millions of pounds. It's like, oh, there's no money to do it. I'll get you some office chairs instead. So yeah, I think it's like I've definitely seen it kind of like early on in my career, when I was like, we did a thing with Drama Centre at uni as well, actually, and it was a bit like the directors kind of didn't know what to do with us. They didn't know how to kind of manage us and kind of like tell us what they wanted.
Yeah.
But then yeah, we didn't know about kind of camera angles, so
yeah,
that's what you got to learn.
Yeah. No, definitely. I feel like actually that would be, I think, a good advice. Like, I feel like when you're starting up and you're making short films, usually the production design sort of part, like people don't take it into account. So you just end up in white rooms, because usually everyone's got a white house. So like cream or off-white and quite plain. So you end up, you know, kind of in a boring location. So I'd say from the very beginning, I would kind of invest in having a production design and, you know, giving them that freedom, because that's for sure gonna elevate your film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're getting a lot of questions about how do you get into the industry? How do you do it? No, it's always different. No one's got the proper answer to that, I will say. But I will say, get talking to other people trying to do stuff, kind of like not just trying to assist people, but also just kind of find other people trying to make work on a shoestring that kind of definitely kind of share the same vision as you. I think it's important to kind of make work that you want to make from the beginning, because that's definitely how I started. Like I would do stuff for nothing. I mean, but it's kind of fine when everyone's on it for nothing and you're not getting like rinsed for months on end. It's just, you've got to kind of balance it with like how much can I give without really driving myself into the ground, because that's not what it's about.
Yeah, I think, definitely the beginning, it's always like, it's a rocky path. It's never easy, and it takes time. From director of photography point of view, it's always kind of tricky, and it's always been like usually male dominated. And so I understand at the beginning it's difficult. I'd say there was like the old way of doing it was to sort of start as a camera trainee for a few years and then jump into second camera assistant for like 5 years, and then jump to focus puller, and then at some point when you're in your late 40s, jump into, you know, being a cinematographer, which is like, to me, when I started, I was like, I can do this, because it's sort of, you want to do something creative now. So thankfully, I think that's changed now, and you are allowed to sort of jump when you're a bit younger. My advice would be like, if you can study it, but also I think the most important thing is sort of just diving in, doing short films, looking for friends that you can film with. And at the beginning, it's going to be a lot of like free shoots, unfortunately. So, which is actually, you know, it's fine because you're getting a lot out of it. You're getting experience, you're getting knowledge about set etiquette and how to be on set, which at the beginning, at least on my first shoot, I was like, you know, I didn't know what to do, where to be when I was a camera trainee. So just, you know, be an assistant as much as you can, so you get to learn from other people, but also shoot your own things. That's what, I would advise.
Yeah, it's so important to try and just do your own thing off your own kind of, what do you want to say? Who do you want to be? Because at the end of the day, that's the stuff that, if you're emailing me about kind of wanting to assist me, that's the stuff that I'm looking at, not necessarily like who you've been assisting. Although that is important. It's important to see kind of who else you know and what kind of a level. But I think just kind of make your own stuff.
I think it's a mixture of making your own stuff and at the same time, if possible, maybe assisting with maybe other people that have more experience, so you get that balance of knowledge, I'd say. Oh, so many questions. I'm lost now. You know which one?
So what's the least annoying way to be contacted? I mean, I think the thing with, I would say like emailing and kind of the occasional Instagram like DM is like perfect. Like no, don't ring anybody. There's too much. Don't turn up at people's houses. That's too much. With your portfolio, don't do it. You'll look crazy. But I would just say, don't be disheartened if you don't hear back from someone instantly. Like they're either too really busy and they don't have time, like they don't need anyone, or they're not doing anything. I mean, I think I got about 5 emails from one person over lockdown, and it was like, what? I'm not doing anything. I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, I can't manifest work. I'm like, stop making me feel bad about myself. So yeah, I would just say like, just do the occasional email. We do find them, but like, it just takes time to kind of reply to kind of each person, and kind of also thinking about the best time to kind of get a new assistant. I don't like to like churn through people. We kind of want to create like a team. Wouldn't you agree, Beatriz? Like,
yeah, I would say the same. I think if you know, sending an email, sending a message, sometimes if you're very busy, I mean, for sure I always try to reply, but maybe I'm on a shoot already that's got someone already in, maybe I can send that to my usual assistants, so they would try to bring them in, and occasionally we'll work together. That's one thing that I do. And then there's some platforms that you can also send your name and your CV to, like, for example, there's this collective called Illuminatrix, which I'm part of, which is a collective of female cinematographers. So if you send your CV there, or just an email, if you don't have a CV saying, you know, you're a trainee or want to be a trainee, want to be involved, that's a good platform to do it, because there's a lot of DPs there, so not just one. Wow.
I've got one. So someone transitioning from art direction design into set design. So I would say just start making bits. Over lockdown, I just baked cakes and photographed them in my room. I'm not a photographer. I use my phone. I don't care. But they looked great and people really liked it, and I got a job off the back of it. So I would say just what can you make in your house? What can you kind of do to look like you're doing something a bit bigger than you are? Don't be afraid to go small, to go big.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
But yeah, Beatrice, there's a question for you.
Who are my cinematographic idols and who inspires me? Wow.
Good question. You guys had better questions than we were going to give to each other. We didn't know what we were doing.
Well, my DOP idols, that's a tricky one because there's so many people that I really, really like. Who can I say? Well, there's this American DOP called Jody Lee Lipes. He's done like some films like After School. He usually does like, have you seen Martha Marcy May? What's it called? Martha Maybe, yeah, or something. May Merlin. You know what film I'm talking about? Lucy?
May Merlin? No.
Martha Marcy. Well, anyway, it's a sort of complicated title. But anyway, Jody Lee Lipes, he's amazing. He does sort of indie feature films. They're really cool, sort of very natural and easy. They look like really easy, but it also looks amazing. Really like him. Who else I admire? I admire, obviously, Rachel Morrison, who's amazing. There's a Spanish DOP who I love. She's also a mate of mine called Daniela Cajias. And she just won the first Goya Best DOP ever. First female cinematographer to win that, which is super cool for a film called... Okay, someone say Martha Marcy. That's the one. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, Daniela is amazing. She just won the best Goya for best cinematography, first female DOP, which is an amazing news for all of us. And she did this film called Las Niñas, which I would recommend anyone to watch it, because yeah, she did an amazing job. And then sort of who inspires me, like usually I'm very inspired by the people I work with, directors that I work with. Like, for example, Andrea, with this idea, you know, and this mood board, that was really inspiring. There's a director that I work with a lot called Rhonda Mckenzie. She always inspires me because she's got a different vision with everything that she does. It's like completely like you don't expect it. I don't know. I think I get inspired by my directors. Oh, it sounds really cheesy, but it's true, you know, because you get a lot of input with different visions. I don't know.
I know. That's what I really like about kind of each job. It's totally different. That's why I love kind of doing promos, fashion, like commercials, because it's like, where are we today? What are we up to? Just every time.
From your world, right? Suddenly see the world through someone else's eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. And it's always like, just definitely our job, it's like, how do we make this real? I have to make this real now. This has to be real. We can't do everything in post.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. I think those are the questions. That's it, no?
I think there are. Yeah, I think that's it. Unless anybody's got any last minute questions for the board.
Yeah. No, definitely. Hopefully we'll work together again. It was really, really fun this last one.
I hope so. Yeah.
Our all-female team, producers, like everyone on the shoot was female, which is quite fun as well.
Oh my God, it was such girl power. It was, yeah, it was just so interesting, wasn't it? Yeah, it was great. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to sign off now. I'm going to very badly try and exit out of this and also save it. But yeah, thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Lots of love.
Oh, lots of love. Thanks everyone. I have to double check what I'm doing now. I'm going to exit the live. Bye everyone.